Peace, peace, peace in Clubhouse lands, and also peace on YouTube and Facebook. I am Ima Yakira Eden, and I'm going to give everyone a moment to get into this space as we're definitely coming off of a hiatus. So I want to make sure, I give a few moments. So I'm going to actually open with a song. Peace, Brother Mayuba. I see you in the chat. And please let me know if you can hear me and hear the music. I appreciate it.
Just be the one you would call on. What are you waiting for? Do for yourself. Just be that force. If you can see it now, you'll be self-actualized. What are you waiting for?
Peace, Aki Zach. Peace, Free Game Podcast. Give thanks for the sound check, Brother Zach. Peace, Brother Mayuba in Clubhouse. And thank you for the sound check in Clubhouse as well. Peace, Albaran. Peace, Albaras Kush. Greetings.
Why keep waiting? Why only leads to more confusion? So just be that which you
Peace, Aki Isaiah.
Be that which you wait for. You are the self-actualized Savior. Nothing is flying in the sky, waiting to come and do the work that you came to the planet to do. Yeah. You be Peru. Yeah. You be Ma'at. Yeah. You be Center. You be a source. Yeah. You be a sector. Yeah. You be Sobek. Yeah. You be Shango. Yeah. You be Oshun. Yeah. You be Yemosha. You be Oduduwa. You be Obatala. Yeah. You be
Peace, Brother Darian.
You be Eshu. You be Ogun. You be Oya. You be Nanandoreko. You be Shiva. You be Kala. You be Krishna. You be Kepra. You be Ganesha. You be Dionysus. You be Hermes. You be Hanuman. You be Tahuti. You be Anpu. You be Rama. You be Pan. You be Zeus. You be Vishnu. You be Hercules.
All right. Peace, peace, peace again, and welcome to another segment of what are we doing here? I feel like we are starting something new, but not because today is 1/1/2023, but because each day we get to actually start something new on the Midday Affirmative. Peace, Master Menelek. And so, of course, I'm Ima Yakira Eden, and I just want to welcome you all into this space. As I welcome you, I also, of course, have to give thanks to the architect of all that you see, all that you don't see, and that masterful architect is Yah. I personally want to give thanks for Yah having envisioned a purpose for my existence. Without that, I wouldn't be here. I couldn't be here if there was no purpose. You wouldn't be here if you were not purposed to be here, if there was not a divine vision for your existence. So I encourage you to offer gratitude for that. If nothing else, offer gratitude for being able to breathe moment, each moment. I also, of course, have to give thanks to my head and covering Chief Yuya for activating the charge of movement, movement in righteousness and purpose daily, right? And I also want to extend peace and gratitude to all of our new as we embark on activating those battle plans and moving fully into this Gregorian year. I'll just go through the chat a bit. Peace, Sister Yafe. Peace, Ima, top tier speaker. Ima, top tier speaker. Ima Naya. And okay. And I think that's it. I see some doubles. So, and then peace, Aki Isaiah and Brother Darian. So as I mentioned at the very opening, we are back from hiatus. And if you are not aware, during the month of December, all of our new, and I believe some of you as well, participated in Chief Yuya's challenge. The challenge was introduced on his podcast, Chief Yuya, which you can listen to at chiefyuya.com or on all streaming platforms. I listen to it on his website as well as on iTunes, the Apple podcast. But I think it's also on Spotify. And in that challenge, he put forth a 26-day opportunity for those of us who wanted to participate to activate some things within ourselves, within our lives. And willfully, we shared what we were doing so that it also activated those around us. I know that during our new fellowship on Yom Shishi, which was Friday evening, our brother Master Menelek and our sister Okoti Yamina actually, I'm sorry, I think I'm missing some things here. Okay. They actually, hold on, I'm sorry. Yeah, okay, sorry. I think for those of you who may not remember, so my phone's over here and then the camera is over here on the iPad. So I'm just checking to make sure I don't see any raised hands to come onto the podium. So again, the mention that Master Menelek and Sister Yamina, they followed up on the challenge and how everyone was doing. I'm actually going to carry that over today because I think some of you may not have been there on Yom Shishi. So if you don't mind sharing in the chat or jumping up on stage to also pop in at any time, just to let me know what were your areas of success? Let's start there because I think, there's this tendency to just go to what you didn't do, what you didn't accomplish. I'll speak for myself. I lead with, I didn't get it done. I didn't finish. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. But really, when that particular message opened, it opened acknowledging an opportunity to celebrate and how taking those opportunities to celebrate can be a healing experience. So my opening question is, what did you rock out during that 26-day challenge? And of course, for those of you who are thinking, well, wait, there are 31 days in the month of December. We do not do work on the Sabbath. So unless it's holy work. And we're going to talk a little bit about that with the theme today. We're going to get into that. But I would love to, and thank you, Imanaya, for posting episode 81's the challenge into the chat. But yeah, tell me. I definitely want to hear or read to you all how you did. And please do not lead with what you ain't get done, because as we know, it takes 21 days to create a new habit. We had 26. So even if you missed and skipped, willfully you have fostered some new habits for yourself that you will surely carry with you today and forward. So the letters that may not have gotten written or mailed. Okay, mailed. Send them. This was and I had to be reminded by Chief Yuya, it was a cumulative experience, right? It wasn't just it what I won't say just. It wasn't necessarily that it wasn't necessarily required that you get it all done in one day. What the requirement or the challenge was that you get X done within the month that was allocated. So I I will that we didn't cram it all in at the end. I surely could not. My the way my bones are structured, I wouldn't have been able to cram in a bunch of push-ups. For those of you on the retreat, big up to Ima Akuya for coaching me through very lovingly and supportively so. She was like a drill sergeant, y'all. Coaching me through those push-ups. Y'all know I definitely had to do a little each day. But there were areas that I thoroughly embraced. The squats were one. Even though I feel like I got a squat upgrade, my positioning was drastically adjusted by Chief Yuya during the retreat. So now I'm doing a much deeper squat for sure. But I really enjoyed that. Reading is always fun for me, and I like to read books. And so my challenge was actually engaging more in audiobooks. So I wound up reading or rereading the 14 Keys, but then still listening to audiobooks. And the walks, though I was walking and running before, I found the walks. I found that they had a different purpose, a different intention this go round. And I'll also say I love meditation. Love. So much so that in this, I was going to say in the coming year, but I guess for some, this is your new year. But in this Gregorian, I'll also be introducing a yin yoga series on the Alpha Woman Now channel. So I'm really excited about that because there'll be yin yoga as well as yoga nidra, which is a form of meditation. It's also considered sleep yoga or sleep meditation, but it's actually more so connected to getting your mental and physical into a state of rest. So before I just ramble on about all that I got done and not focusing on what I didn't get done during the challenge, let me greet some more people and read some comments. So peace, Ima Akuya, peace, Sister Iris, and Sister Yafe, I see you up on the podium. So unmic, unmute at any time if you like. I'm going to just read these comments real quick. Aki Zach said he knocked those push-ups out like a champ. There you go. And he looks a lot better. Okay. And it looked a lot better than Aki Rahman too. So wow. Clearly there's some competitiveness coming out there. So push-ups were on the radar for Aki Zach and apparently Aki Rahman. Even Naya said she started off strong with the physical part of the challenge and progressed with I forgot I can highlight these, and progressed with the meditation. She also did well with the letter writing, but not as much with the mail. Yeah, look, y'all. I wrote my little heart out. I was writing, and what I found was that the more I wrote, the more I was like, and then there's this, and then there's this. And for some people, I wound up maintaining almost like a journal-like letter. Like as the days went by, other things came to mind. So soon come for a lot of people's very lengthy love letters. But yeah, I can definitely relate to that. Peace, Sister Sovereign Eats. And Abaras Kush says the push-ups, squats, and gratitude letters are the easiest for me. I'm still going since I started late. Okay, give thanks. Yeah, and even if we didn't start late, this is all to form new habits. Yes. Yeah, there's all sorts of good stuff going on in the chat. So there was a push-up competition. Ima Kuya is stating that she has video evidence of whatever went down. So we'll see. Maybe that'll wind up in some of the footage that we share regarding the retreat. So that's actually something else that we did during the month of December. Yeah, we took a hiatus. Well, everything went on hold with the exception of the Anu Fellowship. So Master Menelek and Akoti Maria maintained and held down the Every Strong Fellowship, closing out the strong, right? And well, bringing us into Sabbath each Yom Shishi, or each Friday. And so we thank you all for not taking a hiatus, and for being that light, being that beacon for us all. There you go. And Akotiafe put in the chat, she's glad that Ima Akuya mentioned the videos. For those of us who were at the retreat and who has not shared their footage, should have shared it by now, please go back to her message in our internal chat and share it. All right. I'm just gonna keep going. Okay. So I was talking a little bit about taking. Oh, yeah, yes. Peace, peace. Oh no, I'm sorry. And I said, well, I didn't see her unmute, so I'll just wait. I'll just keep on going. Peace, welcome.
Okay. Okay, all right. So I did do everything, just not at the levels that I said I was going to do. I say it like that. I did do my reading. I did do my meditation. I did the love letters. I did the squats, the push-ups. May not have all been at level 2. Maybe some things were at level 1 and 2 and 3. So that being said, I will be continuing them and adding the physical parts as part of my daily movement that I'm supposed to do. The love letters, I'm going to keep going till I reach the 78. And then the journaling is something that I'm going to continue, because those of you that know me, like, I am not a journaler. But I'm going to continue that. And what else? The reading was easy, because I do audiobooks all the time and read books, so that was easy. So that's going to continue. Plus, I actually have like specific books on my battle plan for 2023, and they include the list of books that Chief Yuya gave in his podcast. I forget the name, but it was the one where he was talking about, like, when people always ask him, well, how do you know this stuff? And he gave us a list of books that actually, if you pick one per month, you have more than enough for the entire year to read, like, a book a month. And for those of you who are avid readers, you'll probably blast through it in less than a year. So, yeah, the reading was easy. The walking was also easy. Because I do that all the time. The only thing about the walking, it just encouraged me to walk more instead of run. So I actually got lazy. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to go on this 3-mile walk. Yeah, I'm going to go on this 7-mile walk. And I didn't, like, run during those times. So what I'm going to do is, like, get back on that, quick step. I tried the speed walking thing. That was funny. But, your body kind of turns into a rubber band in order to do it right. But I'm going to return to the running. So, yeah. So I don't think I didn't do anything. I just, maybe I didn't get to the level I thought I was going to get. It all got done in some level.
Well, you know what? I'm going to take a page out of your book. Thank you for the offering. and give credit where credit is partially due. I definitely, I'll have to go back and look at my accountability log. But yeah, there's some areas that, well, all areas were definitely, I would say more than a one, more than that first level. Uh, so yeah, so it's not that it was not complete, but technically if we committed to level 3, then it wasn't complete. I'm
Hush
just
up your face.
I'm just saying. I'm saying what would have been said if Master Menelek or Chief Yuya, if there were certain people on the line, that would have been shut down. So I'm just gonna put it out there. If we committed to a particular level, or better yet, if we were charged with stepping up to a particular level, we got to get. Look, she muted out quick. We have to get to.
I thought the thing went out. No. I'm gonna do it.
Okay.
It's gonna be glorious.
Okay. In the chat, give thanks. In the chat, Akizak said the guided meditation was very helpful with Sovereign Eats. Yes, if you have not had the opportunity, head on over on YouTube to Sovereign Eats to experience the 7 days of guided meditation that Akotsi Maria walked us through. They were really fantastic. And it's definitely something that even if you did listen in on the live, to go back to and to use those as tools for yourself. He goes on to say, let me share it. Last night's was a somewhat of a natural high with the chants. Very interesting. Can you share what that very interesting meant to you? The chanting kind of took you someplace. Yeah, that's a beautiful thing when you can kind of take those journeys. So I'm going to jump right into it. So for this season, so for the next few months, the theme for a lot of our messaging will be focused on healing, victory, and the power of right thinking and culture. So I'm really honored to open up, at least for the these midday affirmatives, the clubhouse, and be the one to kind of be here to bring us back from the hiatus. And it's really just because I was supposed to present and then we went on hiatus, so I was up next. But I wanted to dig into healing and the Sabbath. So I'll share that I had some experiences that brought me to looking at healing biblically during the Sabbath. And I realized that, while we are to not do work, not kindle fire, not, even carry a load biblically, there is work, and there is always work to be done. And the work that is done on the Sabbath is a holy work, right? This is a time to rest, absolutely. But there was also healing that happened on the Sabbath. And there was actually a very powerful number, I thought, right? 7. So Yeshua HaMashiach performed 7 healing acts on a Sabbath. Not on the same Sabbath, but 7 experiences. At least that's what's identified in the Helios Biblios. And so I'm going to touch on that a little bit. Yeah, I'm going to touch on that a little bit. And pardon the pauses. I'm reading all these different chats, as well as give some definition to healing and what I found as it pertains to scripture, as well as just a good old standard definition. I'm also going to share some, and I want to give the references up front, just because sometimes these conversations go in a completely different direction as others join in on the conversation. And so I want to be sure that you have the resources. So I'm also going to be referencing Chief Yuya's, it's on the Anu Life Global Ministry YouTube page. And it's the 7 cycles of Sabbath, how to view rest. So that's one great reference. Also, there is the Sabbath podcast, which is episode number 57, which perhaps someone will share. But if not, you can find it on chiefyuya.com or on whatever your podcast streaming platform is. Yeah. And I'm also going to provide you with an audio excerpt, and that'll actually be from the Sabbath podcast. All right. And yeah, there's lots of references. Like everything I'm saying is, reflecting the light. So everything I'm saying is a drawing reference from, Anu or Chief Yuya. So that's a given. Let me get right into it. So I definitely want to ask you all, how would you define healing? How? And also, I'm going to say most of y'all did not answer my first question. I'm looking through the chat and I see a bunch of people here, a bunch of greetings, but not so many responses to just how well you did, what you did really well with the challenge. Thank you. Give thanks, Imanai. Imanai is on it with sharing the links that I'm referencing. So my question is, how do you define healing? I think that the simplest definition, or the most plain, is to make well again. And when I found that was like, I think maybe my initial Google search, like to heal or healing. And I thought, wow, to make well again is making the assertion that you were well at some point. So at some point, something went awry. There was an imbalance that created dis-ease or unwellness, or took you out of a state of health and healing. And so I kind of got stuck there for a little bit, just imagining what I even look like healed. Because you can focus on a particular ailment, right? You can focus on one thing, or even a cut. You have one cut, and then that cut or that wound heals, and you remember what that skin looked like. It's funny, I have a lot of bracelets, and a few months ago, I guess I'll call this my story time. This literally just happened. I was not going to share it. A few months ago, I was doing I was going in the bath, y'all. And I had an incense burning. I didn't have a bunch of stuff in the water. I didn't learn my lesson about that. But I had an incense going. And I moved my hand in a way that the stick of the incense got caught in between my bracelets. I shook my wrist and the incense fell out. So I thought the burning would stop. It didn't, y'all. The actual lit. This is what I get for trying to be Wonder Woman. The actual lit piece of the incense, the ember, was. This is hilarious. I didn't even want to see. It was stuck underneath my bracelets. Like, it was woven in between my bracelets. And so I was still being burnt. And I looked at it took a long time because I wear the bracelets for that to heal. And just today, as I was preparing and getting myself dressed, I did. It was a whole branding. If only it looks nice, like I would share it. It doesn't even look like anything worth sharing. Like, it could have been a Y and an E, and then I could have said, it's for you, Kira Eden. But no, it was just a random old burn brand. But just today, as I was getting ready, I looked at the other side of my wrist and I said, oh, wow, that scar is completely gone. And then I said, oh, look at how nice the skin looks. And then I realized, no, it's still there. But I could still see what my wrist looked like before that scar was there. So even though it's healed, it's healed and now looks different. One, to remind me of something. Be more, and you know what's funny? I guess that's an act of me being clumsy. And I don't fashion myself as one that is clumsy, but I think I have some clumsy credits that I'm not, owning. The mark of the path. Very funny, Master Menelik. But anyway, I digress. So it was just something that I thought of when choosing to envision myself healed and well, or just healed, period. What does that look like? Can you even imagine yourself? And I know usually when I share, I'm often asking you questions that aren't really to be answered, but more so to be explored. Like, what does that look like for you? It's because so much of this I don't have answers for, right? This is us, taking a journey and exploring just to see where it takes us as a community. But when I looked at that definition of to make well again, it made me think of reformation, to reform something, to form it again. So you were formed and something adulterated you or mangled you, or maybe that was just a part of the experience in order for you to be reformed. And I wanted to just wait. I see some things in the chat, so give thanks. Let me maintain the stride here. So Aki Zach says healing is something that happens from the inside. Yes. Cure is something that one would put on. For example, if one has a headache and wants a cure, they would take a pill. If they wanted to be healed, they would look for the root of the problem, and see what they needed to walk away from to prevent it from happening again. Absolutely, give thanks for that. And okay, and it looks like Abaras Kush said he'd say that turning back to wholeness or to turn back to strength. So to heal would be turning back to wholeness or turning back to strength. And Master Menelik says the physical, I keep forgetting I can do this, the physical aspect of he's talking about the challenge. So the physical aspect of the challenge was really easy, and the ones that required you to sit still got some making up to do. I understand. I definitely understand. Let me just see something here. I think I missed a raised hand. Oh no, I didn't. Okay. So yeah, give thanks for that, Aki Zach. So there's a clear distinction being made here, right? So healing happens from the inside out. I'm going to go back to that. So healing is something that happens from the inside, whereas a cure is something that you would put on. And as we know, Aki Zach is known for quoting, it's a quote from Chief Yuya, but he's often referencing, is it in you or is it on you? And referencing, what you wear, what you show on the outside isn't truly a reflection of what's emanating from the inside unless you're working or actually no. Whatever you're showing on the outside is a reflection of your inside. That's it. And if you try to cloak it and, put on a different coat, you're still seen because your inside is still reflecting. So give thanks for that message. Yeah. So what did he say? You better speak on it since I was 5. Oh, right. Since he was 5 years old, he's been quoting that quote. There you go. So, so healing again is to make well. And wellness is I'd say is balance. It's the ability to maintain a balance. And Chief Yuya actually talks a lot about the maintenance of that balance in the Sabbath podcast. And in the very beginning of the podcast, he actually introduces that episode as balance. And then, later introduces the idea of Sabbath. And so I wanted to like jump around a little bit, because when he spoke about balance before introducing the Sabbath, there was a lot of duality that was introduced. And I kind of said, you know what? This is good stuff. Like, it's all good stuff, but I could see how it was connecting to the theme that I wanted to build on today. Can y'all list here? I'm on in game. I'm gonna work y'all. Can you list just the duality that comes to mind? I'm gonna steal some. So of course there is the sun and the moon, and day and night, and masculine and feminine, and yin and yang, right? So there are some as above, so below. That's another law of correspondence, right? But if you don't mind sharing some that you have in mind, I would appreciate it. And while you do that, I'm going to go back to talking more about healing from a biblical perspective, because as we talk more about healing and balance, we're then going to segue willfully into Sabbath and rest, and how we as a community heal, how the challenge actually helped us heal, and more. So to be healed is also to cure a disease or a wound, or to restore soundness. And the example of that in scripture, what I did was like look at different scriptures and kind of dig into, well, what kind of healing is this? What kind of healing is this defining? And for this one, curing of a disease or a wound, what I connected it to was speak, and my servant shall be healed. So it's like, if we are willing ourselves, if we are speaking wellness, if we are speaking healing, then nothing but healing can come. What do you think about that? Like, and I'm not saying that speak an affirmation and that's all you have to do and you will be healed. But what I am saying is, if what you're speaking is not from a place of gratitude and wellness, and acknowledging that there is an abundance available and accessible to you, then what you may be speaking is coming from a place of lack and unwellness and imbalance. And that could keep you in that state where you are not healed. You may not be able to muster the mental and physical fortitude to will healing. So to go back to the chat, Sister Maria Sovereignite says, healing is the repair and strengthening of the whole person. We can even think of healing as a recovery from a dis-ease. Yeah, give thanks. And for the challenge question, she says, squats, meditation, writing were my strengths, though I have not sent all of my letters out just yet. Yeah, I'm with you. And Okotiafe says, healing would be an internal and external. Oh, these are some of the duality, internal and external, and sound and silence. And Ima Top Tier says, healing is to be free from dis-ease or injury. Yeah, thank you. So another another more biblical definition, and it's connected to, thus saith the Elohim, I have healed these waters, 2 Kings 2:21, is to restore purity. So there's this constant So at one point, the waters were pure. At one point, you were healed, whole, right? Fully functioning in a balanced state. So when we look at society, I mean, look out your window or turn on the television, how much imbalance do you see? Imbalance do you see? And then when we consider the state of dis-ease, illness, unwellness, is it an equitable reflection of the environment trying to correct itself? So one of the things that Chief speaks to when he's referencing that cosmic duality in the Sabbath podcast, he talks about how if you know how yin and yang have those opposing dots in the center, and that those dots are to kind of set a balance. But if you have too much of one, if you have too much yin, then you're eventually forced into yang. And having too much yin would be resting too much. I like to sleep. Sleeping more than you work. Eventually, you're going to have to hustle in order to get the work done. So it's like the charge is to understand that cosmic duality and maintain that balance or that stasis. And in so doing, we maintain a state of wellness, or a giving our mind, body, and spirit the opportunity to heal or to remain healed. Because there are parts of us that, we were formed healed. And what's tricky about that is there are times when we're born with defects. And, scripturally, and I have the scripture here, but I feel inclined to paraphrase. But I won't. When Yeshua HaMashiach healed the man born blind, so that's in Ion. I'm going to call it the way it's supposed to be called. Ion 9:1-16. You may also call that John. It talks about, now as Yeshua HaMashiach passed by and he saw a man who was blind from birth. And his disciple asked him, saying, Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind? And so it's important to acknowledge that during that time, it was widely believed that if you were born with an impairment, it was because you have sinned. So now they have the source. They have the plug. We can ask, dude, he got all the answers. Like, who sinned here? Like, what did he do if he was just born this way? Or was it his parents? And in this instance, the response was, neither this man nor his parents sinned, but that the works of Yah should be revealed in him. And then he was healed. So would that mean in that instance that he was born healed but then had to receive additional, like had to actually experience a healing to further elevate him? That's actually a question I have, right? And I know y'all are not here to answer my questions, but it was something that this guy, what is he talking about? Ha ha ha. Oh, that was something that I considered. Well, okay, if to be healed is, to be taken back to a state of wellness, right? Then he was well at some point in his formation, although he was born with with blindness. Yeah. Yeah. I just made a personal connection between born and blindness. So it's really interesting when you begin to delve into scripture and make connections in a real way. And by real way, what I mean is like looking at the words, looking at the original root word, looking at the etymology. And as we're taught in our new, to consider who's speaking, who they're speaking to and what's happening at that time. And while I may not do that with all of the scriptures that I referenced today, I do encourage you to explore that because it helps to give you a broader context to understand what's being said. So let's see. So we have a bit more about cosmic duality in the chat. So Abba Yada Rams, I'm sorry, Abba, I'm losing all my name. You know what it is? It's because I'm looking at MGC Randy, and so I want to say Abba Randy, but Abba Ross Kush, pardon me, says in and out, left and right, sound and silence, gain and loss, sight and blindness, light and dark, longitude and latitude. Come through. He took them all. He took them all. Oh, that's what Zach is referring to when he said this dude here. There's so much more. That's a cop out, Aki Zach. There is so much more that that is connected to that cosmic duality. Yeah, I'm not gonna let you. Come on, I'm gonna take one off the table. The crown and the root, the crown chakra and the root chakra. All right. I don't know. Is that? I don't know. I think so. Okay, he said water and oil. So there you go. You got one. Water and oil. Akuya says hot and cold, man and woman. Man, woman, up, down. Regular and unleaded. Okay. Okay. Is that one of the, that's a part of the cosmic duality. Regular, and I'm saying it that way on purpose. Regular and unleaded. All right. I'll take it, Master Menelik. I don't know. I feel like you're coming a little short there, but positive and negative, right? And premium. Okay, I'll leave that one alone. So Ima Akuya, in response to what I was sharing about Yeshua HaMashiach healing the blind man, she says, it seems there was a work that needed to be done in the blind man for his healing to occur. As of healing was waiting on him. Right, the healing was waiting on him. Right. Well, the healing was waiting on him. And yeah, he was, as I opened up, giving gratitude for the vision of purpose. He was born with a particular purpose, and purpose to be in a specific place at a specific time, if we're taking the scripture literally. And so, yeah, I definitely see what you're saying. And so there's an opportunity being given there. And I think, I think there are so many experiences where that happens. And this is like a really, I don't know, it's just the one that jumped into my mind. I remember watching one of those singing challenge shows. Maybe it was The Voice, I don't know. But there was an autistic young man on the show. And his voice was amazing. And this isn't necessarily connected to him being healed, but how he was healing, like his gift was healing. I believe he actually won the challenge that season. But I just remember thinking, wow, everything about his articulation and delivery, aside from him singing, was riddled with his challenge, his illness. But when he was singing, there was something simply perfect and purposed in his delivery. And that even makes me think about, this desire for us. Well, I won't say that we all have the desire, but this fictitious wanting to be perfect or to get it right. When the reality is 99.99% of you is going to be wrong, because you probably only have but one mystical, magical thing that you are, divinely purposed to do. Maybe some of us have like 10, but still, even if you have 10 or 20, how many things are you just going to be like, that ain't my ministry? Like, as Akoti Yafe was speaking about journaling, I kind of chuckled because I looked at the necklace I put on and I said, she could make this. That's so cool. Like, she could sit there and close these little loops on this metal thing and make it. And I just shook my head and was like, that ain't my ministry. She had me sitting there with beads, y'all. Number one, I can't see too well. So it was tragic. Okay. Let me tell you. And I just had to acknowledge that beading as a means by which to make beautiful jewelry is not my ministry. So I'm going to X that off the list. And if I do it, I am not expecting it to be anything that I want to wear or anyone else. But there are definitely other arts that, that I like to explore. Did he put, I'm not even going to read what, I'm just going to say, so Aki Isak put red and blue as duality, but he associated it to perhaps West Coast community activities that are not too legal. I'll leave it there. But there was also offered, Akoti Yafe also offered wickedness and righteousness. Yeah. And I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, Lord, maybe we should have a meet and greet. Let's get to know one another. I'm not sure what he's talking about there. And then, no problem with the grammar. It was all good. Let's see. Yes, I can. Thank you, Ima. Come through. I definitely have some carpentry skills, a little bit, just a little bit. I will, in the future, I will be sharing something that I built that is actually in this space. Not this bookcase, but something else. It's hidden. But I do know my way around a little bit of a 2x4 and maybe some, I don't know, some other things. So yes, I can build the jewelry box that the jewelry goes into. Thank you for that, Ima. So anyway, getting back on track with the HR tip. I don't know what, Zach, I don't know. I need you here vocally. I don't know what you're talking about in the chat. I'm getting lost and I feel like I'm missing some good laughter right now. But to cure is also to remove or to subdue, like to heal a disease, right? So to remove impurities or to subdue something is another example of healing it. Or even to purify from corruption, right? Or to heal, yeah. There were so many scriptures. She's still working on the. I don't know what's going on. I'm so lost in the chat. Okay. Somebody's selling something. She's still working on her. Oh, okay. He's talking about me. They're talking about the things that I've built that I haven't shared. So they're making a mockery of that. But anyway, I'm going to ignore that because we're on healing, victory, wellness, and right thinking. Okay, people? Uh-oh, here he comes. Okay. Peace, and welcome in Mastermind Elect. I think, did I not accept it? I did. I accepted it, but it still shows you down at the podium. That's interesting. There we go. I did it again. Okay, it looks like you're in now. Peace, Master Menelek. Did you want to jump in? I don't know. Something weird's happening. Okay, so those were some of the definitions that I found for healing, and also some of the scriptural crosswalks that I made between different ways that one could be healed, or what healing looks like from different scriptural vantage points, if you will. So also, to heal is to grow sound, to return to a sound state. And again, there's this constant returning. And I really hope that we get that. We are well. So therefore, even when dis-ease, imbalance, or a state of unwellness may introduce itself for a time, it's to give us the opportunity to rebalance, to recalibrate, and to know that we are healed. We are well. And I didn't pick the song Soul Invocation by accident. You know, you are the self-actualized savior. You be these things. You be it. And if we imagine that each archetype, each concept, each entity or being that is called out in that song by Chief Yuya is only just a pin on a map to function as a reminder for you that you can activate and be this thing, then take those pins and connect it to healing, wellness, the way we choose to speak to ourselves, waking up and actually affirming words of gratitude. I actually went back and listened to the, I think it was called Healing. I have to go back and look, but the podcast when Chief talks about healing, and he says, you know, going into a mode of gratitude elevates our frequency. Waking up and immediately going into a mode of gratitude activates us. So consider when you wake up, and I mean, I've done it. It's like, oh gosh, you know what? And I haven't done it in a long time, because that used to be my, oh gosh, I have to go to work. I work from home now, y'all. So it's not the same. It's kind of like, all right, cool. Let me go, you know, meditate, journal, walk these babies to the bus stop, and go ride my bike. And then, oh yeah, I got a call. Let me hop on my call and put it in my earpiece. It's a different sort of experience. But I do remember how heavy I would feel when I opened my day with nothing but I want, instead of gratefulness and appreciation for all that I have. Yeah, yeah. I don't know what's happening with Clubhouse. I'm sorry, Master Menelek. I did see the request and I did accept it, but let me see if I invite you. Hold on one second. Invite to speak. I'll try it that way. So I invited you to join the podium. So let's see if that works. You are definitely tall enough. If you're not tall enough, then I don't know what I'm doing here. So, so let's see if that works. But let's see what else we have in the chat. Oh, so okay. So all right, they're talking about the catapult that I'm going to make and invite as a speaker. Let's see if that works. Yeah, it's not letting you in. I don't know what's happening here. Sorry about that. Sovereign Eid says she says, Shalom indeed. Re is constantly present inside of healing, reset, repair, recover. That's right. Rebounds, rehabilitation, These are all, words have such power. Words have such power. And we talk about it all the time. And, Chief speaks about it all the time. And it's reflected in the way that we share and build. But it's like to look at the etymology of a word, to dig into the root of a word and the definition for that root. Because it's all signs and symbols. So when we think about or talk about healing, and I even wrote a few down, to heal, HEAL. From there, you go to health, you go to healthy, you go to healing. So it all starts with that HEAL. So if we acknowledge that the only way you can heal is to go back to a balanced state, then we have to acknowledge and celebrate all that is well within and reflecting out without. So thank you for that. I'm actually going to find that again so I can highlight it. Here we go. I'm going to read it again too. Indeed, is constantly present inside of healing, reset, repair, recover. And then she says, to go back. Yeah, thank you for that. Akizak says, sometimes I think the holdup is one not having the blueprint to see how something is done. Yeah, that's true. When one is the first the first horse out of the gate, they will be the first shot off. What? The first one is the first out. Oh, the first out on their horse. They will be the first shot off of it. Sometimes I think the holdup is one not having the blueprint to see how something is done. When one is the first out on their horse, they will be the first shot off of it. And then the rest get to kind of observe what they did wrong. Kind of like Hope did that, so you don't got to go through that. Kind of like that, or like Chief did that, so we don't have to go through that. Kind of like, is that what you mean? Can you elaborate, please? I done read it wrong like 5 times, so that's probably a part of my lack of comprehension here. But I want to make sure that your point is clear, at least to me. Yeah, I know Clubhouse isn't letting you in. I don't know what they just jive. They just jive turkeys. Sound like my father. Ima Akuya says, I made a good point. Choosing how we speak to ourselves. This is important. Choosing how we speak to ourselves. Choosing what we claim. Of course, we know our thoughts make things, they form things, they are things. And so when you see your thoughts manifested in front of you, are they manifesting something that is balanced, something that is beautiful? It's kind of like, it's funny. Like we experienced this on a retreat. We were playing, the sisters, we were in our cabin playing music and having some creative time. And as the music shifted, so did the artwork. And it actually spoke to a clear shift in consciousness. And for everyone, that didn't equal something as light as what they produced the first time. And so it's just like, well, you know what were those words calling out of you? When you're being creative, and like, I'm thinking of right now, I've been playing with pottery. And so it's like I have a potter's wheel, and even that idea of listening, I've been playing around with like making a bowl. And there's been a point in my mind where I hear, stop, this is good. Stop here. And I'm like, no, I just want to get a little more. I just wanted a little rounder. And what happened? It implodes. It literally melts on itself. And I'm left with a puddle of mud, red clay, that I need to reshape and reform because I wasn't obedient. I didn't stop when I needed to stop. I didn't yield to what needed to be made in that moment. Okay, so I'm just going to keep going through these. How to Be a Healer podcast. Thank you, Ema, top tier speaker. So How to Be a Healer podcast, episode 76. That is the one, and she included the quote and the it looks like the timestamp as well. Yeah, gratitude raises your frequency, especially when you're offering that gratitude first thing in the dawning. Give thanks. See, this community coming through. I appreciate it. And look, and here's Ema with it. Boom, back to back. Aki Zach said, which is why people don't want to become those things that you mentioned. Yeah, it takes a strong individual to withstand the judgment and backlash, and stand on truth. Listen, yes. It's much easier to just be complacent. It's much easier to just say, well, the universe will provide, and the all will make a way, or go pray and wait for it to happen, instead of acknowledging that you were put here for a purpose. And if we acknowledge that we are here to self-actualize, that we are here to save ourselves, to save our community, to nurture and cultivate a space that is safe, so that when that deluge comes, when that flood comes, that you're prepared, that your hearing is healed, so that you may yield to that guiding voice, so that those instructions, whether they're coming from headship, whether they're coming from a fellow sister, whether they're coming from wherever, that you're able to actually hear and discern, that your hearing is in a state of well-being. How about that? How about at some point we were able to hear, at some point we were able to see, at some point our heart was open and soft and malleable. At some point women were feminine and personified what it meant to serve and support and be that Azer Conecto, that helpmeet, and not be in competition or in conflict with their counterpart, right? And of course, I can only speak from that perspective, but I'm sure, the brothers can call out the what ifs, right? For the personification of masculinity, as I'm speaking to, there's another one, right? Masculine and feminine. Maybe I took that one early on. But today, that seems to be such a huge challenge. And so much so, more so because there is an imparting of unwellness, right? Of dis-ease and imbalance that's introduced sooner and sooner. And so I'm going to go backwards here, sooner and sooner and sooner. And so that means that what we have to do is extract ourselves and our youth from an environment that would introduce imbalance, so that they can recognize I'm actually healthy. And that actually brings me to the idea of right culture, and how right thinking and right culture gives you the power, gives you that launch pad, if you will, to be victorious. Because what is it like if it was just me? Just me. No covering, no headship, no instruction, no, this is how you study the word, none of that. No opportunity to stretch myself by coming on platforms like this and running my mouth and, willing that something meaningful comes from it. None of that. If all I had was just me, I would just be lost in this perpetual circle of what it is to be a woman, chaos, producing very little, but celebrating very much, because society would tell me that I was successful. But on the inside, what I would be projecting is imbalance and unwellness. And there are so many of us who experience that right now. On this day that you call your New Year's, you are sad about what you didn't get done last year and making decisions for how you're going to do something different. So let me just help you out. This is not the new year. Choose any day, every day, any moment to do something new. Choose any opportunity to be victorious by having a connection to a community that will have a standard of accountability. Because then when you're being judged, it's not a backlash. That judge comes from a loving place. That judgment comes from, that's not what we do. This is what we do. This is our foundation. This is the standard. And of course, one option for some is Anu, is going through the Anu Way foundations and is recognizing that, wait, this is sparking something in me. I hear something in here. And allowing those words to actually be breathed in, taken in as a healing balm, and let it kind of marinate, right? See, how does this work? What does life look like as a woman who is, or a female who is given the honor of being covered? What does it look like to be obedient? I could tell you it shouldn't be a struggle, but it is a challenge because there is so much imbalance that, most females are indoctrinated into. That if this isn't happening at a young age, it's just like, we're just so lost. So lost. Not like we, like y'all. I was so lost. Because that masculine force is that directedness, is that direction, are those boundaries. We're water and earth. Those two together is like what? Landslides? Mm-hmm. Lots of chaos. So I never get through all of my notes, and there are a few things that I wanted to touch on. So if there were a few things that I could leave you with, it's use your ability to transform. Take the time on the Sabbath to rest. Resting is a great tool for healing. Resting is a great tool for healing. Identify the areas in your life, even just using this challenge. I know for sure writing the love letters was the biggest challenge for me. And I can't say that it's from a space of an inability to identify what I appreciate in each of the people that I placed on that list. It was the doing, just sitting down and doing it. And then once they were written, I was so happy, but then it's like, the doing doesn't stop there. You got to send it, or even just hit send on the email for those that I didn't have addresses for, and not wanting to get every little thing squozing, not a word, squozing in there to like it's the dang first, and I'm sending the message. So think about the imbalance in your life. And even if it's just one thing, if you haven't done your battle plan, do it. Start with identifying, go back and listen to Chief's charge, listen to the challenge, identify the activities that you want to change or activate in this year, this 2023 Gregorian year. And if you don't have an idea, right? If you don't have headship, if you're unclear, if you're not, as of course I'm speaking to the women, if you are not covered and you don't have direction, then I'll say you need to get some. That's most important. But perhaps consider an area that you experience imbalance. Yes. I'm sorry. Zach says, squozen makes sense to me. Comes from the Sanskrit. Yes. And she squeezes the avocado to see if it ripe. Listen, this is what we do. We're like absolutely so silly. So silly in this space. I think I acknowledged that one time, like just how goofy I actually am. I try to keep it locked in tight, but it just comes out. And it's just, I was told recently I'm zany. I'm like, I'll take it. I'm zany. Good. Now I'm like, hold on. Let me go look that up. Because all I kept thinking about was Animaniacs. I was like, why does zany make me think of Animaniacs? I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, there's so much healing in laughter. I have had to be taught how to not take things so seriously. Take a beat. Chill up, freak out. Like, I know it may seem like what I'm saying may seem random, but it really isn't. It really, really isn't. This is just me owning the fact that everything doesn't have to be scripted and tight and sit up straight and say these words and deliver the message and call people on the stage so that I'm not the only one talking or, do these things. No, it can just be, you know what? I'm just going to flow and have fun and laugh and read the comments and glance at my notes, which are still here, right? So you're on this half of the screen and my notes are there. But I'm just kind of scanning through my notes and being obedient to what jumps out. And right now, I feel like I'm in that yin energy. Like I'm in that less active, more passive. All right, let's go with the flow. All right, I got these bounds. I know what's required of me. So I'm gonna be water and just move through this. Pinky in the brain, right. Yes, Ivanaya. Yeah, when I heard zany, I was like, I don't know. I didn't know. But it kind of just means like not goofy, but like unpredictable and kind of goofy from what I can remember. But okay, let me get back to this. Imbalance. If you haven't done your battle plan, think of maybe just an area that is imbalanced or unbalanced and how you can create some balance there, how you can take the opportunity to counter whatever you're doing that's creating that imbalance in you. Because in that is restoration. That's how you restore yourself. That's how you create movement. Yeah, I'm not going to go much further. I did want to share with you all from the Anuea Declaration of Truth. And I wanted to share it as an affirmation. I wanted to share it as a word of encouragement. And each time I read it, I thought, well, is this going to be edifying to the collective, or is it a bit too heady to just share as an affirmation and close? But my thought, my mind is to share it, and that if you need to go and dig into it, you can easily go to anulifeglobal.org and download a copy of the Anu Way Foundation. As Sister Yafe says, it is free 99. Of course, it does ask for you to, it acknowledges it as free, so you can put $0 as your contribution to gain access to the PDF, or you can offer a donation and receive it that way as well. So I'm going to close out with an affirmation. Really, I'm closing out with a quote from the Anyway Foundation's Declaration of Truth. And it reads, Reformation. We declare that healing and deliverance are indispensable parts of the Reformation that is obligatory as a consequence of our sojourn through the human continuation. I'm going to read that again. That's just the first sentence. Reformation. We declare that healing and deliverance are indispensable parts of the Reformation that is obligatory as a consequence of our sojourn through the human continuation. We are being reshaped and reformed into the images that we originally intended to be before we existed in physical form on the planet. In order to regain our boundless forms, submission to the Creator of original intention is required. Our safari through this biosphere of humanity provides a frequency of innumerable experiences that provides us with a wisdom that we feed back into the attention of the Most High. As we gather wisdom, we are also renovated by those experiences. Our goal is to maintain our originating divine consciousness whilst exploring the mind-changing experience of earthly existence. Our objection and joy are found in the strength of our virtuous collaboration with the Supreme Divine of every past, present, and future moment. With that, I am going to close out. I truly, truly will that this was an enjoyable journey and experience for you all. I had a lot of fun. It was quiet on the other end. It was noisy a little bit in the chat, which I really, really appreciate. So I'm going to close with the same song that I opened with. Like to hear it? Here it goes.
It's your time. Yeah.
That could be your affirmation right there. It's your time.
Just be the one you would call on. What are you waiting for? Do for yourself. Just be that force. If you can see now, you'll be self-actualized. What are you waiting? We are the visionaries. Have you lost your way? What are you waiting for? Let's think. What is inside of you?
Peace, give thanks.
Are you? What?
begging.
Stop begging. Why keep waiting? Why only leads to more confusion? So just
Peace. Have a beautiful, beautiful
be
day.
what you call upon.
Make sure you are adhering to your battle plan and have a phenomenal strong.
You. Nothing is flying.